In this second video of the lecture on public goods, we introduce the problem of cooperation, or prisoner's dilemma as it is most widely known. And we introduce it as an example of sort of failed public good production, the dynamics of public good production. And if you have already done the readings in the Economy, Society and Public Policy book, you're of course already familiar with the different types of social dilemmas that Anil and Bala encountered there. So you've seen the invisible hand game, which is basically a simplified version of the market we saw last week. And you have encountered the prisoner's dilemma, where Anil and Bala have to decide whether to use pesticides or not. But the problem of cooperation that the prisoner's dilemma encapsulates actually goes much beyond sort of public goods production or specific applications within economics. It's one of the big fundamental questions spanning social science, from politics to economics to psychology, anthropology, and into evolutionary biology. So it's worthwhile spending some time on this. The way I like to introduce it is with a concrete example that should be familiar to students around the world. And I call this the dirty kitchen game. Okay, so many of you will live in shared accommodation. I used to back in the day when I was a student as well. And what happens is, of course, that you have people over to have a party, and maybe there's some drinking going on, and some eating and some dancing, and people are having a good time. And afterwards, it basically looks like this. So you find yourself on Sunday morning or Monday morning confronted with this kind of situation. So let's think about what happens in this case. And this is basically an example of the prisoner's dilemma. So let's try to model this situation. Let's use sort of the tools that we use in political economy to capture sort of the essence, the simplest parts of this situation. Let's say it costs the equivalent of £30 to clean your communal kitchen, and let's say there's only the two of us involved, right? So let's say the flat is only 2 people flat, but you had a lot of people over, but the two of you have to basically decide what to do next. And let's say it costs the equivalent of £30 to get it cleaned up. So this can be either indirect cost, so we could pay someone, a cleaner, £30 to clean up the kitchen, yeah. Or you can think of it as opportunity cost, right? So it's the £30 worth of pain, of not doing nice things, not watching TV or studying or going outside, but £30 worth of sort of cleanup time. So you can think of either your time or your money that you pay to someone. That's the concept of opportunity cost, right? And so basically we have a choice here. We can either do this together, the two of us, you and me together, we clean up. Yeah, that means both of us incur a cost of 15. So we chip in both £15 and pay the cleaner, or we suffer £15 worth of pain or of lost other activity, study activity. You could have spent £15 worth of your time to study for the ESPS core course exam, right? Or we could do it alone. So if I do it alone, then I incur £30 worth of cost. So either by paying the cleaner or by doing it myself. Everyone okay on that, right? So £30 is the total worth of the mess, in a way, you know, the amount of cleanup that is necessary, and we can do that together, or we can do it individually. The reason we find ourselves on Sunday afternoon with the mess still there is that we individually only value the kitchen at £20, right? So if I'm sort of kind of a clean freak, right? If I'm obsessive compulsive cleaner, yeah, then I would have cleaned it up already, of course, right? So then my value from the clean kitchen would be higher than the cost that it is to clean up. So I would have cleaned up already. Most people are not like that. So maybe some of you are. That's fantastic. You are the ideal roommates, of course. But in many cases, that's not going to be the case, right? So we value the clean kitchen more than we than the cost of the cleanup individually. Okay. That's why the mess is still there. Else we don't have a game. We don't have a problem. Okay. But that means that there are 4 possible outcomes. Okay. So either
I clean and you help, or I clean and you don't help, or I don't clean and you do it, or I don't clean and you don't clean, right? So in this situation, we do it together. In this situation, I don't do it, but you do it. In this situation, you do it, but I don't do it. And in this situation, neither of us do it. Okay? So what about these outcomes? So we can assign sort of numerical values in this case to these outcomes because we know how much we value the clean kitchen. Huh? So in this case, we assign a value of £5 to me and £5 to you. So the first number is always my payoff, the second number is your payoff. So in this case, if we both clean up together, right, that means we both incur £15 worth of pain, yeah, of cleanup pain, or we actually pay, right? But we both receive £20 worth of benefit from the clean kitchen, right? So that sounds quite nice, right? So we both get £5 benefit in a way. Okay, so £15 worth of pain, £20 worth of gain, both of us. What are the other possible situations? So what about this situation? So if I do the cleanup and you say, oh, I have an important ESPS core course event to attend to, I have to study, I have to do other things, I have to go, sorry, you got to do the cleanup. Then what happens? Then basically I find myself in a situation where I clean and you don't clean. Yeah. And how is that? So for me, that means I incur £30 worth of cleaning cost, but I get only £20 worth of benefit. So that's a minus £10 kind of situation for me. And you get all the £20 worth of enjoyment of the clean kitchen without doing any of the work, without cleaning up. Okay. So what about that? Sounds kind of nice for you, right? So what about the situation where I don't do it and you do it? Well, it's symmetric, isn't it? So in this case, I don't clean, so I get £20 worth of enjoyment out of the clean kitchen because you do it, and you incur £30 worth of pain and get £20 worth of benefit from the clean kitchen, so you incur minus 10. Yeah. And the last outcome, of course, neither of us cleans, which means that we both don't incur the cost, but we also don't enjoy the benefit from the clean kitchen. Okay, so we find ourselves with this sort of matrix. So it's a 2x2 matrix, if you want a fancy word, that gives us the payoff structure for our strategic interaction. But we've just done this, right? So we've just designed sort of a simple interaction between the two of us and sort of identified what the payoffs for each possible outcome are. Okay, so fancy words, but I think what we've done is quite straightforward. So what do we do next? How do we solve this? So how do we know what prediction to make? Remember, political economy and game theory is for making predictions about behavior, about outcomes, about equilibrium outcomes. So what do we do? So we have to think about sort of what is my best strategy? What is my best response to what you do? And what is your best response to what I do? And then we see where we end up. Okay. So let's think about this a little bit. So I'm gonna use the laser pointer here for a second. So basically what we have to do is we have to ask sort of what are my choices? I can clean or not clean, yeah. And I will think about what is my best response to your choice. So if I think you're gonna clean, I will only look at this this column here. So if I think you're gonna clean, what is my best response to that? Well, my best response is given by my I can design based or choose based on the outcome. So I can look at my outcome here. So if you clean, I get 5 if I clean, and I get 20 if I don't clean. So I'm obviously better off not cleaning, right? So if I think you're gonna clean, I'm better off not cleaning. Okay, and I can highlight this also. Let's mark this. What about if I think that you're not gonna clean? Well, if I think you're not gonna clean, I have a choice between cleaning, that's minus 10, and not cleaning, that's 0. And obviously 0 is better than minus 10. So I'm also better off not cleaning. Okay. So no matter what you do, I'm better off not cleaning. What about your choices? So you do the same. This is a metric game and you're a strategic player as well. So what if you look at take my choice as a given? So if you think I'm going to clean, what's your best response? Well, you can clean and get 5, or you cannot clean and get 20. Obviously 20 is better than 5. So let's highlight that. What about if you think I'm not going to clean? Well, then you have a choice between -10 and cleaning and 0 and not cleaning. So 0 is better than -10. So you choose not to clean. So we can highlight this as well. So in your case, it's also the case that you're better off not cleaning no matter what you think I'm gonna do. Okay. How do I turn the laser pointer back off? So, so if the other person cleans, I'm better off free riding. And so in this case, 20 is better than 5, yeah? And if the other person doesn't clean, I'm better off with the dirty kitchen, right? 0 is better than -10. And of course, you face the same situation. So we end up in a situation where we end up with the dirty kitchen, where it's Sunday evening and neither of us has cleaned it up, because we know that if we think the other person is going to do it, we're going to run away, and you think the same way about this. And this outcome that we've just found is what we call an equilibrium outcome, and specifically a Nash equilibrium outcome. Now, what does that mean? Nash equilibrium means that players choose their mutual best responses, or specifically, the definition would be that no player has an incentive to unilaterally deviate from this outcome. What does this mean in this case? So we say that our Nash equilibrium is this 0-0 sort of outcome. We can also highlight that in some forms. We can make a star here to characterize the equilibrium outcome. And what does it mean? So it's an equilibrium outcome because no player has a unilateral incentive to deviate. So what does it mean? So if we're not cleaning, neither of us is cleaning up, can I individually make myself better off? And the answer is no. So if we're in this situation, yeah, and we both don't clean up and we both don't get the benefit, I can change my choice from not cleaning to cleaning, yeah. But that means that I make myself worse off. I get -10, right? And the same is true for you. So you also think that if you start cleaning yourself, I can just run away. So basically, you go from 0 to -10, and you're worse off. So no player has an incentive to unilaterally deviate from this situation, and we find ourselves in the dirty kitchen situation. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, the problem is that it's bad, that it's not optimal. If we could only agree, we could find an outcome where we're both better off. We could both enjoy the clean kitchen, the 5-5 outcome, for example. We both like this outcome better than the 0-0 outcome. Yeah, we both could be better off, but because we're in a bad sort of Nash equilibrium, we can't get out of it. Okay, so we're stuck in a way. And that's the dilemma. That's why it's a problem of cooperation, or the prisoner's dilemma, because we end up in the bad situation, although we would be better off if we could only agree on working together and cooperating. So the dirty kitchen game is a good example of this Nash equilibrium, sort of bad outcome in the prisoner's dilemma. But like I said, so the prisoner's dilemma stands for a large class of situations, and this problem is also often known as the problem of cooperation. The prisoner's dilemma or problem of cooperation are the same thing, and they characterize a large class of situations. Basically, any case where you have an interaction that looks a bit like what we have on the slide here, you have yourself a cooperation problem or prisoner's dilemma type problem. So the standard terminology here is to use the words cooperate for the cooperative sort of play, the cleaning, and defect for the bad action, for the cheating action, whatever it is. And as long as the payoffs are as in this matrix here, so as long as the temptation of defecting when the other person is cooperating is larger than the reward for both of us playing well, doing the right thing, is larger than the punishment, so the situation where we both sort of play the bad option, the defect option, is larger than the sucker's payoff, so being the loser, the one who cooperates while the other person defects. So as long as this sort of ordinal ranking of outcomes is given, a situation can be characterized or can be described as a prisoner's dilemma or problem of cooperation. And these are incredibly widespread, or this model is incredibly widespread or finds applications in a wide array of fields. Okay, and like I said, so these applications are incredibly widespread. So the very simple game, this very simple interaction between two players with two choices each, and these four possible outcomes, and very simple sort of dynamic, actually capture a wide class of situations in the real world. Some of you may have encountered this already in your international relations kind of class in terms of arms races or the security dilemma, right? So maybe during the Cold War, the US and the Soviet Union, you know, both of them would have been better off sort of agreeing to limit the nuclear weapons development. It's incredibly costly, and sort of, you know, you don't have to be able to destroy the other side 50 times over, right? But if you think that the other side is developing new weapons, you're better off also keeping up, right? So it's an arms race kind of logic. You know, you would be better off agreeing to limit this, but if you think the other side is doing it, you're better off doing it as well. So you end up in this bad equilibrium where you continue with it. But it's not just political and security applications. So it's incredibly widespread. So economics, business, there's tons of good examples of this. So think about a cartel. Huh? So you're the two suppliers of some, I don't know, some mineral or some specific chemical product. Basically, you find yourself in the exact same situation. If you can agree, and that's why cartels are so bad. If you can agree to produce certain amounts or to charge a certain price, you can extract incredible profits from the consumers, and that's really, really bad for the economy and really, really bad for the consumers. Yeah, but it's really, really good for the company. So if the two companies can agree on how to share the market in a way, they are better off. But of course, they at all times have to fear that the other side will go behind their backs, and that's why they have to look at each other's behavior. That's why OPEC monitors the quotas, etc. Right? So cartels, but there are many other applications in business. But it's not just the political and economic sphere where these models have been used to great success. Also in biology, there's sort of a variety of dynamics that follow similar kind of logics. And if you come to sort of the, you know, if you think about the state of nature, which some of you have encountered maybe, Hobbes, the life of man is poor, nasty, brutish, and short. And that's exactly the same kind of dynamic at play here, that you cannot trust the other side. Now, I think with this sort of state of nature or traditional society kind of models, it's often a bit silly to think of this as individual behavior. I'm not going to steal from my brother or my grandmother or my close friend in the same village, where there's sort of close monitoring. But you can think of this as group level dynamics, right? So maybe we would be better off not having to post guards at all times, you know, not to have sentries, not to have weapons to defend our village, right? But if we fear that the other neighboring village is going to raid us, it's going to steal our stuff, then we have to be able to fight, and maybe we're better off attacking first. So we get sort of in these conflict dynamics, partly because we are afraid of the other side doing it, and we would be better off attacking first. And these are just some of the many examples where prisoner's dilemma has been used very successfully to describe the dynamics and the problems that that people face.